The lights are off, the house is silent, you're exhausted, and all you want is to fall asleep. But the second your head hits the pillow, your brain does the exact opposite of what you asked for. Suddenly you're not in bed anymore, you're standing in front of your boss, delivering the comeback you were too stunned to say this morning. Or you're rehearsing a breakup that hasn't happened yet, replaying every word until you sound calm, confident, and completely unbothered. Somehow, in the dark, with your eyes shut, you've turned into the writer, director, and star of a movie nobody else will ever see. Most people brush this off as overthinking or bad sleep hygiene, but that explanation barely scratches the surface. What's actually happening in your head at midnight is far more calculated than random worry, and once you understand it, you'll never look at your own imagination the same way again. Welcome back to Psyche Circles. Today we're breaking down exactly why your mind builds these elaborate, fictional scenes right before sleep, and more importantly, how to finally shut the projector off. Why your brain wakes up when your body wants to sleep. To understand this, picture your day as a constant balancing act. All day long, you're filtering yourself, biting your tongue with a difficult coworker, staying composed after a rude comment, holding it together through deadlines and small humiliations. The part of your brain responsible for that self-control is the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and restraint. It works overtime from the moment you wake up until the moment you lie down. But here's the twist. The instant you close your eyes, that control center is the first thing to clock out. Researchers call this in-between stretch, awake but drifting, the hypnagogic state. Your logical mind starts powering down, while the limbic system, the emotional and memory-driven part of your brain, is still fully alert. And now, with no phone, no noise, and nothing left to distract you, your brain finally has room to deal with everything you swallowed earlier that day. The problem is, without your logical brain online to process things calmly, your mind doesn't think in sentences anymore, it thinks in scenes. Instead of quietly acknowledging, "That comment bothered me," your brain builds an entire confrontation where you finally say what you meant to say. That's why these nightly scenarios are never generic. They're personal, specific, and you're always front and center. 3 reasons your mind keeps hitting replay. 1. Chasing closure. Some memories fade fast. Others, a cutting remark, an argument that ended mid-sentence, stay sharp for years. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished experiences stick in memory far longer than resolved ones. When life doesn't hand you an apology or a clean ending, your mind writes one itself. Replaying the scene isn't you holding a grudge. It's you trying to give yourself the closure reality refused to. 2. Chasing the feeling of winning. In these mental movies, you're respected, admired, finally proven right. That's not a coincidence, it's dopamine. Neuroscience shows the brain releases dopamine not just when you get a reward, but simply from anticipating one. Imagining yourself succeeding lights up the same reward pathways as actually succeeding. And in this version of events, you control everything, the dialogue, the reactions, the outcome. No risk of rejection, because you already rewrote the ending in your favor. 3. Rehearsing who you want to become. Sometimes you're not reliving the past. You're previewing tomorrow's job interview, a hard conversation with a friend, or how you'll set a boundary you've never set before. Cognitive scientists call this mental simulation. Your brain running a low-stakes dress rehearsal so you're less caught off guard later. But on a deeper level, you're also testing out a version of yourself who stays calm, speaks up, and doesn't back down, quietly practicing courage before you need it in daylight. Why you can't just stop thinking about it. If these scenarios only satisfied a need, you could switch them off at will. But they don't stay optional, they become automatic, and here's how. Your bed becomes the trigger. Night after night, the same conditions repeat: darkness, silence, stillness. Your brain quietly links them together. This is basic cue-based habit formation. Eventually, the moment your body hits the mattress, the scene starts playing on its own. You don't even have to choose it anymore. The story becomes the reward. The payoff isn't really about winning the imaginary argument. It's the instant relief from lying alone with nothing to occupy an anxious mind. The second a scenario kicks in, boredom and unease disappear, replaced by focus and purpose. That fast relief teaches your brain a shortcut. Whenever you feel empty at night, summon a scene. The loop feeds itself. Every imagined scenario, good or bad, still triggers real emotion. Your heart rate ticks up. Your nervous system stays alert. This is sometimes called pre-sleep cognitive arousal, and it keeps you awake longer than you intended. The longer you're awake, the more empty time your brain has to fill, so it just keeps writing. Over time, your bed stops being a place associated with rest and starts being wired for wakefulness instead. How to actually break the cycle? You can't outwill a wired-in habit, but you can retrain it. Try this 4-step reset tonight. Step 1, name it. The instant a scenario starts building, quietly say to yourself, I'm doing this again. Naming the pattern re-engages the logical brain just enough to cool the emotional charge without judging yourself for it. Step 2, interrupt it deliberately. Give yourself a firm mental command, stop. Pair it with an image, a red stop sign, a hand pressing a power button, a screen going dark. This creates a hard break in the momentum. Step 3, fill the space immediately. The moment you cut the scene, your brain will try to refill that space with the same story unless you replace it fast. Count slow breaths, picture a single calm image like still water, focus on one neutral sound in the room. The rule is simple, never leave the gap empty. Step 4, repeat without frustration. The old scenario will try to sneak back in, especially the first few nights. That's expected, not a failure. Just repeat the cycle, name it, stop it, replace it. Over 2 to 3 weeks of consistency, this becomes your brain's new default response. One more tool that helps enormously, set aside 15 minutes earlier in the day as dedicated worry time. Write down whatever is bothering you while you're still logical and alert. A brain that's already been heard during the day is far less likely to demand the stage again at midnight. Having a mind that builds elaborate scenarios doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you have a sensitive, active inner world and a protective mechanism that's simply working overtime. The goal was never to shut off your imagination completely. It's to remind your brain that your bed is where the day ends, not where it gets relitigated. So tonight, when the familiar scene starts to play, ask yourself, what am I still trying to resolve? An old conversation? A quiet hope for recognition? A fear about tomorrow? Drop your answer in the comments. Naming it is often the first real step toward letting it go. If this gave you a clearer picture of your own mind, hit like and share it with someone who's also lying awake, writing scripts at 2 a.m. And if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you're subscribed to Psyche Circles. We'll see you in the next one.